guys, it's Kendra with Holistic Happy Healthy, and today I'm going to be showing you how to read the back of food labels in your local grocery stores or anywhere you guys shop. So let's get into the video. To start, I do want to say that I'm not a nutritionist. I have taken nutrition classes in my undergrad, and I have had 7 years of experience with training myself, diving into research, and just overall trying to figure out what works for me in my body, as well as what doesn't work for me in my body. So I was getting ready for bed. I actually just got back from my sister's, visiting my niece and my nephew, and I wanted a snack in my pantry. But I was looking through my pantry, and I was reading the labels, and it literally hit me that some people out there may not understand fully how to read the labels of food and may get confused with certain things that they are portraying, such as that protein bar that may say low calorie will help you lose weight, and in reality it's not really the truth. Earlier on, I did not know how to read labels of food, and it was like mumbo jumbo to me, a different language almost, and it really confused me and made me frustrated in the beginning because I tended to believe what the labels were telling me versus actually diving into the ingredients, and it was kind of like a wash in my diet, and I couldn't figure out what exactly was causing me to not lose weight and plateau in my diet. And it actually was the food that I was eating that was saying that it was healthy, but it actually was not. Today I'm going to be diving into how to read a label specifically, and then I'm going to be going over 3 pantry items that I actually currently have in my pantry right now, and going to be reading the label along with you to kind of show you what I keep an eye on and kind of red flags, so to speak, that I look out for when I'm shopping and looking for food at my local grocery store. So the first thing that I wanted to tell you guys was, when you look at a label, there's a ton of different things that you see, and it's kind of overwhelming at first, but really I tend to break it down into small categories, and I start from the very top of the label and then move to the bottom. In the beginning, I was told to look at calories and fat, and I'm not even joking with you guys, I hardly ever look at calories and fat. Almost never look at that category first. And the first thing I want to tell you guys when it comes to calories is that calories are a unit of measurement. The best example I can give you guys when it comes to calories is a foot. And in a foot, you have 12 inches in a foot, right? So the 12 inches are the makeup of what makes an actual foot. So it's kind of, the best way I can say it is, again, it's its own measurement. It's not actually a thing such as sugar or protein or sodium, which we're going to get into here in a second. So that's one of the things I want to tell you. So when people say, I'm not eating this because it has 500 calories, it's what makes up those calories that is making the difference. Just because something is high in calories doesn't necessarily mean it's bad for you. All carbs are not created equal. And by that I'm saying you could have the same amount of calories in, a bucket full of carrots versus like maybe 2 or 3 donuts, they're not the same. Certain calories or foods that have certain amount of calories may have different vitamins and minerals than something that may not necessarily have the same vitamins and minerals. One of the things may be better for you, one of the things may not be better for you. The next thing that can get a little confusing, and this is the one that I want you guys to kind of put in the back of your mind for a little bit, but it is something that's important and to understand, is fat. There are actually 4 different types of fats that I want you guys to pay attention to. The one that you see the most is trans fats and saturated fats. Trans fats are basically what you find in donuts and chips. Those are the ones you should really avoid. With saturated fats, those are the type of fats that you'll find in dairy, cheese, meats, stuff like that. Ones that people tend to talk about regularly are polyunsaturated fats and monounsaturated fats. Those are the type of fats that you'll find in oils and salmon and fish and in nuts and avocados. Those are the ones that tend to be good for you. Now, I don't want you guys to get caught up too much about the types of fats. Like I said, I don't really monitor that as much because I tend to eat more whole type ingredients. I like to eat a lot of vegetables, and I tend to avoid the foods that have those trans fats and saturated fats, but I'm just telling you guys so that at least you can get kind of like a background to what those things mean. So on to the first ingredient that my eyes go straight to when it comes to food labels, and that is carbs and fiber. Carbs are the energy of the item that you guys are putting into your mouth. Carbs are basically, simplified, what give you energy. Now let's say you look at something and it has 40 carbs in it. I try to stick to, when I'm losing weight, a specific ratio of 25 to 45 carbs a day, net carbs a day, and I'll get to what that means in a second. If I'm maintaining my weight, I'll stick to 75 net carbs a day, and that's generally where my body and I feel comfortable at based on the things that have worked for me and losing weight. What I mean when I say net carbs, that is the fiber amount minus the carbs or carbohydrates in a specific food. So let's say you have something that is 40 carbs, but then it has 20 grams of fiber in it. What you'll do is you'll subtract 20 from 40, and that'll give you 20 net carbs. I have found that using this ratio, and again, I stick to 20 to 45 net carbs per day, and that helps me lose weight. And again, if I'm sustaining my weight or maintaining, I will eat up to 75 net carbs per day. Those are the two that I tend to follow and look at first when I'm looking at a label in food. Next one that I don't tend to look at per se as a swaying option, but that is sodium. Sodium is what balances out the water and minerals in your body. I tend to see higher sodium levels in processed foods like frozen meals and stuff like that. If it has an over amount of sodium, it's usually something that's more processed. Now, don't quote me on that. There are things that have higher sodium levels that are naturally from the ground and from the earth. But when it comes to processed foods, I have found that they tend to have higher sodium levels. So if it is higher in sodium, I generally don't eat it, but that's not something that I tend to look at first in my specific diet. And the big one that everybody tries to avoid, which is sugar. Sugars is a very contradicting type of ingredient when it comes to food, because when you see higher levels of sugar, you tend to run away from it. I feel like we've all been programmed to avoid higher sugar levels. Now, keep in mind, pineapple, for example, which is a fruit, a natural fruit from the earth, has higher glycemic index than an apple, for example. Now, when it comes to processed sugars and natural sugars, those are obviously different, and it's kind of the same mindset I want you guys to think about. Similar to all carbs aren't the same, well, all sugars aren't the same either. Overconsumption of sugar can lead to heart issues, heart attacks, strokes. So an overconsumption of sugar isn't good, and I would say generally speaking, if I see a higher level of sugar on something, I usually don't grab that option. Next important one that I always look at when I'm looking at a label and when I'm trying to pick up something for myself at the grocery store or for dinner is protein. Guys, protein, I can't say this enough, protein is so important. Now, I usually try to stick to, for a meal, 15 to 20 grams or above. For a full meal of protein, I try to have protein at every single meal because it helps sustain and keeps you full. I found that usually if I do have protein in a meal, I feel fuller longer, but if I don't have protein in a meal, I tend to want a snack. And that's just something I've noticed with my body. Let me know what you guys think, if this is something that you've noticed as well in your diet and health regime plans. Protein basically repairs your cells and helps make new cells. So protein is super, super important, guys. I cannot stress that enough. The next one, and the last one I want to get into in reading labels, is vitamins and ingredients. Vitamins are important. You know, you are supposed to have a certain amount of vitamins per day, so it's important to kind of read through that label. I'm not going to get into the specific vitamins in this video per se, but please leave a comment down below. Like this video if you like kind of what you're hearing, as I would love to maybe make a vitamin video and a breakdown of vitamins. Let me know if you guys would want to see that one. When it comes to ingredients, my general rule of thumb is if you can't read them, don't eat them. I kid you not. There are times where I'm reading ingredients and I don't know what something means. Ingredients could mean something as simple as salt, and the scientific term is spread so long, I swear to God, it's probably every single letter in the alphabet, and I still don't know what it is. So if it's something that I feel like it's maybe more of a healthier ingredient based on my research and my observation of the item I'm looking at, I may look it up, but usually I'm not going to waste my time on looking up an ingredient if I don't know what it is. It really just isn't worth it to me to waste the time on something. Otherwise, I'm just going to put it back on the shelf and look for something else. And again, it's just a general rule of thumb that I followed in my health journey. I am not a nutritionist. I'm not a doctor. You know, it's as easy as looking up an ingredient if you don't know what it is. And usually I do that, but sometimes I'm just rushing through the grocery store and I'm just looking at the labels quickly, and I just don't want to bother with ingredients that I'm not sure what they are. I'd rather just move on from there. Okay guys, I hope that gave you a little bit of insight into what I tend to look at when I'm reading labels. And the ones that I go to first is carbs, fiber, sugar, and protein. Those are the four that I always look at when I'm reading labels, as well as the ingredients. I'm gonna give you guys some examples of 3 different things. I have said this before on my channel, me and my husband eat differently, and I do have some things in my pantry for when friends come over, family come over, if there's holidays going on. So these are some things that I wanted to show you guys. The first one is my husband's favorite treat / drink, which is Strawberry Quick. I'm gonna go over the label quickly for this one, as well as a general gravy packet, and then one of my favorite peanut butters, which is the Once Again peanut butter. I will leave a link down below for this. I'm not sponsored, I just really like this peanut butter. First one I want to show you guys was the Strawberry Quick, or the Strawberry Nesquik. This one actually surprised me. I thought this was gonna have a higher amount of sugars, but for the serving size, it only has 12 sugars, 12 net carbs. And then it doesn't really look like there's a lot of vitamins in this, which wouldn't surprise me. Now the ingredients, I was highly surprised on. Now sugar's the first ingredient. That's a duh factor. I feel like I'm happy that they put that first because, you know, obviously there's sugar in this. Beet juice concentrate for the color. That's interesting. Normally they'll put dyes in it, but the fact that they use beet juice is actually really interesting. This one actually, I would say this is kind of a medium grade. I will not, you know, personally I don't drink this, but for a sweet treat, you know, it doesn't really have a lot of negative ingredients. It clearly said it has sugar, but the fact that it's kind of simplified, I understand every single one of these ingredients is something that I would like. So for me, in my book, if you're wanting a sweet treat or a cheat meal, or if you have a husband who likes Strawberry Quick, this is approved in my book. One that I wanted to show you guys was this gravy. Now I believe I got this for Thanksgiving, and looking at the ingredients now, I wish I would have just made my own gravy, but you know, it was 69 cents at Aldi's. The first ingredient is enriched wheat flour, niacin, iron, thiamine monotrate, riboflavin, folic acid, hydrolyzed soy, corn and wheat protein. Do know some of these ingredients because I've looked them up before, but I mean, it has, if you go further down, it has corn syrup solids. I'm getting wrapped up in the label already. So this is one that has ingredients that I wouldn't necessarily know right off the top of my head. I would have to look them up, and it's just a waste of my time. Now, this is convenient. It's 69 cents. I don't eat this regularly. Like I said, me and my husband aren't making gravy for dinner. It's something that I would get for Thanksgiving. So I would use this possibly for Thanksgiving if I have a large amount of family, but really, gravy is so easy to make, guys, at home. I mean, this might as well just make it at home, in my opinion. And then the one I wanted to show you guys is my favorite peanut butter in the whole wide world, which is Once Again peanut butter. The only ingredient in this, guys, dry roasted peanuts. That is the only ingredient in this, guys. I mean, this is obviously approved. It's organic. You know, I love seeing items that only have one ingredient in them like this, or, you know, less than 5. And this is really, really good. There is like no added sugars. I love that, guys. Total fat is 14 grams. Again, I don't really look at fat that much. When it comes to carbs or total carbs, remember, this has 7 carbs. You take away 2 because there are 2 fibers in a serving. So that would mean that this has a takeaway of 5 net carbs. And if I'm trying to stick to 25 to 45 net carbs a day to lose weight, in my book, again, you may have a different calorie intake, or excuse me, you may have a different carb intake than me, but this is a very good one for like a quick meal if you want it with celery, if you want it on some gluten-free toast or something like that. This would work. Very, very good in my book. All right, guys, that is pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for going along with me. Like I said, guys, this is stuff that I learned on my own with research, as well as talking to my doctor, as well as having nutritional classes in my undergrad. I'm not a nutritionist, even though I am trying to get certified currently. This is stuff that I've learned. So please take what I say as my own experience. You know, take what you want out of this or leave it behind. I just want to help you guys reach your goals, lose weight, be healthy, whatever you're trying to do, and that's pretty much my goal. If you're new here, please subscribe, as I do post content like this every single week. If you have been here, thank you so much for being a part of this family. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. Please leave a like, as I would love to have this video get pushed out more and help other people that are struggling with weight loss, health journeys, or just want a friend around the block talking about food. But other than that, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.